Okay, so I've been thinking about something interesting recently because I've been wrapping my brain around trying to figure out what's the easiest way to identify the wrong things that you're doing in your life. Because I feel that if you identify what you don't want, it's a lot easier to figure out what you do. If you think about your life as a whole scale, I've been speaking with my girlfriend recently who is a little bit younger than me, and I've got some friends at the gym who are a bit younger. And they ask me, I think I've said this before, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Or what should I do with the rest of my life? Something I've realized is you're not just going to do one thing with the rest of your life. You're going to do lots of little things that accumulate a big life. Now, I may have said that before, and it's quite interesting because it's a little bit less daunting. But it's still difficult to figure out what those things are going to be, especially if you're 18, 19, 20, even 25, even 30. It's really hard to figure out what you want because there's lots of things that people want. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a closer. I want all these different things. So I don't necessarily know what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I do know what I don't want. So I've figured out the things that I don't want and I try and avoid them. So I've been thinking about the idea of how to figure out really what you don't want. Because a lot of people do things they don't want to do in their life, but they justify doing it. So this is something that I've been realizing actually in the context of a relationship. So my now girlfriend, who I believe is the girl I'm going to spend the rest of my life with and marry because of one simple thing. And we've only been dating for a few months, but in every other relationship I've had, the words that I say are being justified inside of my head. For example, I was with a girl once, she was my girlfriend, this is years ago now, and we would talk about things and she would want to be going out more and doing things, and I would say things to her like, I want to be with you, and I did really like her, let's not get that twisted, but I would say things and then immediately justify what I just said in my head. Like, everything really aligns with us in our relationship, blah, 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 blah. But in my head, I was like, she doesn't really understand this part of my life, but that's okay because all this internal justification. Now with my current girlfriend, I haven't had to do that once. And the justification typically for me in relationships starts straight away. Because I live my life a certain way, it's relatively strict, relatively focused, like a lot of us do in this space or try to do. I would have to justify their actions or our actions together to myself all the time. And I didn't realize this until I met Leia, because now I do not ever justify. So if you're doing something or whatever it is and you're justifying your actions to do it, to a certain degree, we all have to do things we don't want to do to get where we want to go. You're going to have to do certain jobs or whatever before you find the thing that you want to do. But listen to that voice, because we may not know, if you're working that 9 to 5 and you're making good money and you have to justify the money, it's probably not the thing that you should be doing. So you can take stock and just listen more closely to that voice, because we all have it. I refuse to believe that there's anyone out there who doesn't have that internal conversation when all the noise stops. For a good example for that for me was especially when I was, doing lots of drugs and drinking and going out. Yeah, it's all fun and I'm Mr. Good Times and King of the Good Times when I'm out. But as soon as I got home, as soon as it was quiet, the justification started to turn. And you can live with that for a certain amount of time. And it can resonate in your brain. You can justify your actions for so long. And you can numb that with more actions that aren't aligned with who you want to be. But if you're scrolling Instagram or TikTok and thinking, it's okay, I can do this now, but I don't really want to be doing this, but it's okay if I do it now. That's just going to keep happening unless you identify and listen to that voice. If you have to justify something internally over an extended period of time, it's probably not the thing that you should be doing. So listen to that voice. That voice is trying to tell you what you should be doing. And again, it's not going to give you the answer to the thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life, but it will at least tell you the thing that you shouldn't be doing right now. And the less things you can do that you have to justify, in my opinion, the closer you're going to get to the goal and the outcome that you want in your life. And it is a really simple exercise. If you ever hear that voice, just take a moment to listen to it and think about it and identify why that voice is in your brain, whether it's in a relationship or in a job or in the way you're eating or the way you're sleeping, whatever it is, that voice is always going to be there. And the closer that I've listened to that voice, the better and more successful I have gotten. And I still struggle with it, you know, even at work sometimes, like I could be doing follow-ups or I could be pushing harder. And it's like, oh, you know, I just didn't push hard because it wasn't the right person to push. Or, you know, I don't need to do a follow-up right now because, oh, you know, I've done them yesterday. But then I sit there and I'm like, oh, I really should be doing that, you know. It's just like that justification. The less justification you need for your actions, the more you're going to be doing, the more successful you will be. And it's really hard to like hear that thing when you're surrounded by a lot of external noise, whether it's social media or friends or family, because they will try and justify, especially if they're the wrong people, they will try and justify your actions to you because, again, people want to see you succeed, but not better than them. So the more space you can create and the closer that you can listen to that voice, the better you're going to be off in the long term. And I just don't think it's that hard. I don't think it's that difficult to do better. This is actually something that my girlfriend said to me, which is why I do think that this is really the girl for me, because we went and saw my friends and she was like, it's just not that much harder to do better. And it really isn't. To do better, you just have to do a little bit more than you're doing right now. And over time that will compound and you will get where you want to get to. So, you know, I always struggle to really think, what's the point of these videos? Why do I do this? Because I just really hope that one day someone watches this and uses something that I said to positively affect their life. And I really believe that if you listen to that justification and if you have to justify a lot of things, whether it's a person in your life, you know, that friend. Now, this is a good example because I was this person. A lot of my friends had to justify my actions a long time ago. Oh, you know, he's great. It's just when he gets drunk, he's just kind of a bit aggressive and blah, blah. But, you know, normally he's great. You know, if you have that person where it's like, oh, you know, they're great. They want to see me succeed. But when we hang out, they kind of pressure me to drink or smoke or whatever, you know, but you don't really know them. People are just the sum of their actions. Like, we really know that person. You really know that person. Don't justify people. Doesn't matter how close you are to them. You shouldn't have to justify their actions because they're not the kind of people that you need in your life. And it really goes strongly and fits really well for this conversation around, you know, job or whatever. And look, I appreciate that if you've got a family and responsibilities, you might have to justify working a job that you don't like to support those people. But again, like most of the people that are going to be watching this are young people who are trying to start a business or trying to be a closer, and you probably don't have a lot of those responsibilities. So you can be selfish and listen to that voice because it is a selfish act. You know, I acted really selfishly for a long time, but it got me where I wanted to be today because I really listened to that voice. And the closer and the more clearly you hear it, the closer you're going to get to where you want to be for the rest of your life. So that's my thing for today. If you have to justify any actions or anything that you do, listen to it, understand it, and figure out why that is not the thing that you should be doing. And just try and do something a little bit better than what you normally would. And the more you do that, the closer you'll get to your goal and your end result. So yeah, I hope that this one helps. I think moving forward, I'm going to try and do more sales related content, you know, more actionable things. And I really hope that's going to help people, you know, make more money and close more deals. Because I think at the end of the day, it all starts with mindset, but there are practical applications to all of this. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.